Hey, what's up guys? My name is Galaxy Gaming and today we are playing PC Building Simulator. Now this is a pretty good realistic simulator of building a PC. Uh, it also features a lot of overclocking and other important things for PC builders, beginner and expert alike. Today I'm going to be building a PC very similar to my current one in real life, and I'm also going to include my overclocking current setup because the BIOS features a very in-depth look at a lot of things. So I'm going to kind of be doing a little tutorial, maybe PC builders, show them how to build, stuff like that, you know. Alright, so let's get into it here. We're going to do a free build on the normal workshop. Alright, so here we are in PC Building Simulator. Now I'm going to look up my case here. Mine is the Hyper Beast H440. So we're going to go into the free build options here, just make everything a little bit easier for us by turning on these pretty helpful build option tools. So first things first, when we take a look at the case, you can see that it's a very designed case. I think this is a mid ATX case, if I believe I'm being honest here. Hang on. Yeah, it's not going to show me in that menu. Yeah, it's a mid tower, so basically just a regular ATX mid factor. So, first part of a PC is, of course, the motherboard. This is what's going to power your whole computer. Now, I have a BS. Actually, I forget what it is. I have to look through these options here. I know it's a manufacturer. What is mine? Mine's either an Asus or a Vija. No. Okay, fuck. Hang on. Of course, I forget what my thing is, you know. B450M. It should be similar to these because mine maxes out at like 2900, I believe. So this should be good. It's same socket, same everything like that. Now this is a micro ATX motherboard, while mine is a like full size. Okay, so these highlighted screws here are these standoff screws for a computer. The biggest thing with these are to hold the motherboard to the back of the case. And these are very important, so you want to make sure you get all of them. As you can see, there's one located about every small place on the motherboard. So as a quick rundown of the motherboard here, we have the CPU socket, which is pretty self-explanatory. These are the batteries, well, circuit compressors, whatever you want to call them. They run through and can limit or increase the amount of energy the CPU and other components receive. Same with these down here, you know, they all look like this exactly, and they're going to be the biggest thing that's going to circulate energy. This is the drive bay, so you'd put like a M2 in there. So let's get an example out here. That's RAM. I don't want RAM. I want storage. Yeah. So M2s are these. They're like the little system sticks, and they are the fastest storage available to any PC. Now, With this is an AM4 socket, which is AMD's typical processors, except for not the Threadripper series. These are all like Ryzen's basic CPUs for everything. I have a 3700X, so pretty similar to exactly what mine's going to look like. Now, whenever you install your CPU into your motherboard, you always want to use thermal paste, because what that's going to do is that's going to allow the surface temperature of the CPU to be a lot cooler. It's basically a heat resistant. And for the CPU cooler, or the air cooler, you're going to want to find one that's going to fit for your AM4 socket with a lot of airflow. But you're also going to want to make sure that you don't block off your RAM slots, so you can install the max amount of RAM. I like the look of that one. Okay, just making sure everything's hooked up here. So these are your 4 DDR4 RAM slots, where you're going to want to install your memory of your choice. I have T-Force. I got reddish. Yeah, it's exactly. Where's mine? Hang on. Yeah, this is what I have in mind. I have 4x4 8 gig or 4 gig RAM sticks. So we're just gonna put these in here. Pretty nice RAM setup, if I do say so. It's about 16 gigabytes at 2800 millihertz with XMP factored on. For graphics card, I have a 2080 Ti. Excuse me. I have... No, that's not it. Where's mine? It's not a Founders Edition. Mine's just a regular 2080 Ti. So let me see if I can find one that's similar to my specs. Yeah, this is about as close. Okay, so we need to take out these top PCI covers. And these are pretty simple standard removal. So we're going to install our GPU. As you can see, that screws into where the PCI covers were screwed in at. That's a pretty clean looking graphics card. Now, the probably most important aspect of a system is your power supply. So you want to take into account how much everything needs for wattage wise. Right about now, we probably need, say, 210 watts, but we need to increase that for overclocking. So we're just going to get a regular 650 watt. Because, no, mine's not a 650. What is mine? It's a 750. Yep, there you go. And mine's a bronze. Nothing too special, so this should be about equal. I lost mine already. Where is it? Yeah, 750. Here we go. So what you want to do is remove this quick. And the PSU mount you want to take off before you put in your battery. You want to put it back on after the battery has been installed. Now, cable up your GPU, your motherboard, your case, and your fans. Now, my fans are different than these, but I'm just not going to change them for the sake of time. I have a 2 terabyte and a 1 terabyte, but I'm not even going to bother putting them in. So what we're going to do is install this case back on, and the USB with the OS installation, basically the recovery drive. Before anything, we're going to go straight into BIOS. These are our current clocks. This is the RAM speed, the CPU temperature in Celsius, and the CPU speed, how fast the cores are running at. So right here you can see we can overclock the 73700X. I have mine IRL at 95 millihertz by 45. So that's a little bit lower, but what that's going to do is that's going to help it run better and keep the temperature a lot lower for other things we can overclock. Now see, I can't turn on XMP because we changed the base core frequency of the CPU. When you change this base clock, it changes the RAM's functionality so that it can't automatically choose a profile. So we're going to choose one of the motherboard's presets for 3040 millihertz a second, and we're going to give it 1.30 volts where the max is 1.65 volts. So we're going to go ahead and boot up on that storage device. It should load up just fine. We got to let OS install. Damn. Quick and loud, baby, that's how it is. I'm going to get a GPU tuner because this is probably the most realistic they have to what mine is. Stress tester, LED configure, and 3D advanced smart condition. I'm also going to add system info just for the fuck of it. Give that time to boot back up. Just run around lazily. God fucking damn. Shit's louder than anything. Okay, I have mine on rainbow. About that speed, yeah. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and go into system info here. As you can see, this is our CPU running at 4275 millihertz, 8 cores, the AM4 socket at 65 watts. Over here you can see all the cores temperatures, and you can see my GPU's temperature, my operating system, my power draw, case temp, etc, etc. I was way off with that temperature draw too, or power draw. You got your motherboard, your graphics card, your RAMs, and your M2, which is the solid state that we put in to the motherboard. Okay, so now that we're checking these out, you can see the temperatures on this. So we're going to minimize this, we're going to bring this over so we can see the temperatures of our GPU. So we're going to open the GPU tuner, because I don't know how realistic this can really be as overclocking wise, so I just want to make sure it holds steady. Okay, mine I have 5% core voltage at 1745 and 1760. Okay, as you can see, we boosted up a little bit, but nothing too radical. Temperatures are staying somewhat stable. So we're going to go ahead and launch 3D Mark. Now, for those of you who don't know, this is a DirectX powered benchmark for gaming PCs. What this does is it does a bunch of different adapter threading, time spy graphics tests, and they're all rendered at 4K, 2560 by 1440p. Features hundreds of lights and a large number of small particles, stuff like that. And then it also combines a CPU test to see how much combinations of physics it can do. So let's go ahead and give it a run. Now, as you can see, the CPU is pushing over 30 FPS now. This is CPU right here, because it's doing all the projectiles and everything spinning and shaking. It's complex like computer stuff. I don't really know how to describe it to you. We're on these almost 700 frame at 24 seconds. Now this typically takes about 5 to 10 minutes to run depending on your GPU and CPU. As you can see, our GPU is pushing 60 FPS, almost 500 frames in 8 seconds, so that's pretty solid. We're going to let this run for a bit, and we'll see what our final score is, because it should definitely be interesting. The second GPU stress test is now at pushing a solid 55 FPS on the 600th frame in 12 seconds. Running a pretty solid complexion. Let's take a look at the PC while this is running. As you can see, we've got a Mortani Heataway case fan in one here and two in the front, which don't seem to be spinning. Oh yeah, they're spinning. Actually, there's three in the front. Okay, as you can see over here, our benchmark is done, so let's re-put this on. Back over here. The CPU score is 9,588 at 32.18 FPS. The graphics score is 9666 at 62.25 FPS and 55.96 FPS. This is our overall total, 9654, and this shows our like a small bundle of our system information. Our CPU is AMD Ryzen 7 8-core 3700X GPU, NVIDIA GeForce RTX 2080 Founders Edition, and it shows the exact time, which yes, this is linked to your actual PC. It shows the exact time that you ran this and how it ended, and so that's a pretty good combination right there. So we're gonna go ahead and go back into this Time Spy Hall of Fame if it loads. Apparently it's not gonna load, so we're just gonna fuck that. Alright. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you guys how to take it apart. I mean, it's not very in-depth, like you can't see the hands-on part, but it's a pretty basic and simple solution for our real life and in-game. Now what you're going to want to do is power the PC off before you remove any components. We're going to go ahead and remove the 4 RAM sticks first by opening the memory clips for each of them and then removing them. Now, always remember to have a clean workstation where you can set these aside so you're not messing things up. And a lot of these things will take screws, so make sure you have a specific bowl for the screws to go in. Other stuff like that. I'll link you in the description to a few channels where they do pretty good tech reviews and show you how to build and unbuild hands-on. But as for this game, kind of just doing a playthrough and also little tech tips, you know. So I'm also going to do the air cooler second. I'm going to take that off, then we're going to go for the CPU. So that main part is out and it doesn't get damaged during the removal of other parts. So what we're going to do is we're going to unplug the GPU because this also needs to come out. We're going to open the drive bay, take out the M2, which in some cases can cause data loss, so you want to be very careful with that. Unplug these external wires to your case fans, etc., etc. And now we're going to go ahead and remove the motherboard by getting rid of these standoff screws that we put in beforehand. Now these are the holes for the standoff screws in the back side of the case. You just want to put them back in there to make it more organized, you know. As for the PSU, pretty simple. You take off the mount, then you can take out your battery. Some cases you will take your battery out this way, maybe this way, but on this case it will come out that way. As you can see, we're only left with the case and the 4 Mertani heataway fans. And you know, it's a nice little build overall. Doesn't do too bad. It gets done when I need to get done. And yeah, so hope you guys enjoyed PC Building Simulator, and that is all for today. Peace out.